Right. Yes, very good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, today I'm going to talk about control statements. I spoke little about the control statement before going to start operators concept. So Prasad knows little. So let me take a little more examples about control statements, how they are important, and what sort of role they will be played, what sort of classification of control statements. In every programming language, basically, control statements are essential. There are basically three types of control statements we have: conditional statements, looping statements, and special statements. So firstly, we must understand, why do we require a control statement, basically? That's very important, actually. So why do we call control statements? Which means that by default, computer can only execute program instructions sequentially. So if you write a 10 lines in the program, one by one, based on the time, they will be executed. But how control statements will be help us? Control statements allow to change a flow of execution of program instructions based on end user requirement. See, very simple, I can tell you. If there is a remote, if you want to click on there is a channel called 5, only the corresponding channel will work. Rest of the channels will keep quiet. Means we are switching from one particular place to another particular program instructions. That's only possible because of the control statements, which means they will allow us to be switching from the one place to another place rather than sequential execution. That's the part I just wanted to tell you. Now let's go ahead. What are they and how they will be classified? Let me explain one by one. Okay, the topics I would like to talk about here is a intro to control statements, types of control statements, and conditional statements, looping statements, and special statements. Here, if you look at carefully, that the types of control statements are, this is the one category. This is the second category of the control statements. This is the third category of the control statement. So subsequently, I will show you what statement comes into under conditional statements, what statement will be comes under looping, what will be comes under special statements. Okay, let's go ahead. So I'll be giving you hands-on for every statement with a very clear, appropriate examples in automation, in DevOps, and all the ways. And absolutely hands-on through loop and hands-on through special statements and other things. Okay. So firstly, let us understand about control statements. I already told you that by default, computer knows one thing, that it will be execute the instructions of the programming in a sequential fashion. It doesn't know how to change accordingly. Okay. But we want to write the program as our wish the program has to behave. If you want to switch on the AC, you have to switch on, but automatically it doesn't start, right? But in the AC, if you want to keep it as a horizontal swing, it will be work as per your requirement. It does not perform the things as per instructions written by the programmer. It will be execute the instruction according to your wish. For that reason, control statements are mandatory. Yeah. Okay. Okay, next statement I wrote in real-time scenario that the applications they must be able to controlled by the end user. If you want to control the program by the end user, absolutely we require to write a program so which is going to be highly customized. That is possible only with the help of a control statement. Okay. So the control statement will be enabling the program instructions to change the flow of execution according to the end user perspective. Okay. Now I'll be classifying the types of the control statements. One is, conditional statements, where absolutely I already told you that. So the conditional statements are also known as, branching statements or decision-making statements, where absolutely one is the if-else statement, another is going to be the if and else statement. So the Python doesn't have a switch case, only we do have only this particular two statements. This particular statement can handle positive and negative two cases, but if, elif and else statement can handle as many number of test cases, it will be able to handle it. Anyhow, I'll be give you the appropriate example. Just you understand what do you mean by conditional statement. They are also known as a branching statement. They are also known as a decision making statement. Okay. Comes to the looping statements. Absolutely, they are also known as, you have to be understand that they will be call it as an iteration statement, are also known as a repetition statements. They are for loop, while loop, and nested loops. So in the nested loop, there will be many more things will be covered. With appropriate example, I'll explain to you. Till then, you just take the right example to demonstrate all of them. Okay. Okay. The last type of statements will be absolutely here. If you look at, isn't it? So break statement, continue statement, pass statement, and return statement. Are you clear? So these statements, each and everything I'll be give you with a hands-on appropriate example. So kindly you just try to understand accordingly. Okay. Yeah. 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 So now let us go ahead. If you go here, the if-else statement, I already told you that there will be if will handle the positive condition. If it is true, then it will be tackle positive case, else it will be tackle the negative case. So if-else statement will be able to handle one positive test case and one negative test case. More than two if-else statement cannot be handled. Okay. So if you want to be handled more than two test cases sequentially, we have to go absolutely this particular test case, which is if, elif, and else statement, where absolutely it will be handled more than two cases, mean up to n cases it will be able to handle. Okay. Yeah. And if you look at the else if else statement scenario, where we'll be able to execute one condition here. We are going to execute one condition here, such as probably, let's suppose a number probably is 20 is less than 30. This condition I would like to check. If this condition is becoming true, the branch is going to be executed in this fashion. This is going to be the case where if statement gets true, then the direction where branching will be takes in the downfall. And what condition you have written here, he will be able to tell you that, 20 is the lesser than 30 is the statement you have written here. Then subsequently, it will be go ahead. Okay. So in case if the 20 might not be true than the 30, it will be go to false and it will be go down, and absolutely else statement will be get executed appropriately. Then it will be go to the next statement. So as a whole, you have to understand if else statements are called, what, branching statements or decision-making statements. This is the flow diagram or maybe entity relationship diagram, how the flow would be executed over here. Okay. So with appropriate example, you will be get to know about it. Let's go ahead. If Elif and else part, which means what? There are cases where I'm trying to compare grade of the students. I'm trying to compare grade of the student, grade of the students. If the marks are greater than 90, obviously I would like to take the decision as what? A plus grade. There is another possibility is that greater than 80, less than 90, which means what? The marks will be greater than 80, less than 90 will be call it as what? A grade. And marks are greater than 70, less than 80 will be treated as a B grade. How many possibilities are going to happen here? The marks are greater than 60, obviously C grade. Isn't it? Absolutely, marks are less than 50 or less than 50, absolutely I could be able to tell it as a fail. So how many possibilities we have here? Absolutely, this is a one case, this is a second case, this is a third case, this is a fourth case, this is a fifth case, which means only these two cases can handle only if else statement. But what about remaining three cases? Let us take the same example here. The decision is that where is marks will be the student mark is greater than 90. If it is so, I'll be take there is a action is the print action as what? A grade. That will be printed directly, it will be go out of it. In case if the student marks are not greater than 90, probably this case have been failed here. Then it will be checked. The next condition is what? Is marks will be greater than 80, less than 90. If it is true, this particular print, B like A grade will be printed. This is the A plus grade. This is A grade, isn't it? In case the student doesn't have a greater than 80, probably greater than 70. If this case is also getting failed, then absolutely I could able to say that, if it is 70 greater than less than 80, if it is a true, then it will be called as a B grade will be printed. That's a decision making will be go out of it. If in case a student will be greater than 60, less than 70, this case is also getting failed, then it will be go to the this particular case, which is going to be the C grade. Then this particular flow diagram will be keep on increases as many number of grades to be addressed. I hope you guys have an idea already that how the flow diagram is going to be executed over here. Okay, let us go ahead. Let's suppose the first statement. Already you know that the first statement will be the first statement is going to be statement is also known as an iteration statement, where body of the instructions as many number of times end user want. Yeah, this is the purpose of that. Let's suppose I'll be taking here that that printer natural numbers from 1 to 10. I want to display the natural numbers from 1 to 10. How you are going to write the program is a matter now. So here what happens here is that we have to initialize. How the for loop is going to be initialized here? Absolutely, the loop is going to be initialized as for I is the initialized variable in operator range till 10 I wanted to display. This is a for loop. What happens whenever we declare the for loop like this, the range is the built-in function which will be generates the value from 0 to 9. So in this first number 0 will be comes into I. That's going to be the 0. Now 0 is obviously lesser than 10, right? Condition become true. If condition become true, then obviously it will be executed. Then absolutely I will be get incremented. Then absolutely it will be take now I will be a 2. It will be printed. Then again it will be go. This particular condition will be keep on looping like this. Till what extent this loop statement will be incremented or decremented? Till the condition is going to become a false. What is the false condition? When the I value will become a 10. 10 is not less than 10, right? 10 will not be included in the range function. Till 0 to 9 it will be generated. 9 will be the upper boundary. Okay. Then when the I become 10, then this false statement will get executed. Completely the first statement will be terminated. It will be come out of it. This is how the first statement is going to work. Okay. For loop in the Python allows you to iterate over the sequence of values. It can be list, strings, list, dictionary, anymore. And the use range function to specify the number of times the loop you need to run till finite loops, not infinite loops. Okay. For will enable to solve the problems belonging to the finite related problems, not infinite related problems. Okay. Let's go ahead. While loop. Absolutely, while loop is going to have a just like the C++, Java, where we are going to write a same problem. Like I'll be write it now. While loop is allows you to execute block of a code repeatedly until the condition is going to be true. It will be use the break statement to exit the loop in intermediate stage when it will be condition will be met. Okay. And while statement is used to solve both infinite related problems and finite related problems. That I'll be tell you with the appropriate example. Okay. Nested statement means a loop statement within which another loop statement will appear. Then it will be called as what? Nested statement. So I wrote about the definitions. In Python, you can nested loops inside the other loop can perform the more complex operations. I'll be taking a right example for you. Okay. The use of nested loops for the iterating or two-dimensional list. When there are two single dimensional data or more than one dimension of the data where the data is 2D data or 3D data or n-dimensional data, we gonna work with a nested statement. It can be a for statement, it can be a while statement. So we can use both for and while loop statement within the nested loops purposefully. Okay. The break statements we have, they are the special statements. The break statement is going to be used to terminate the statement when the condition become true. That with appropriate example, I'm going to be tell you. I'll be come back with that. So this is an example and comes to, if you look at this example, I wanted to read. One to this particular iteration of the variables. So the condition is when the value becomes 7 while reading the data, I wanted to print the 7 and then we wanted to break statement. We don't want to read this 9 and 11 because I'm interested into this. So this is how the break statement will be execute the instruction till the desired condition will meet. Once the desired condition is meet, further instruction does not be allow us to be executed. That's the purpose of the break statement. Continuous statement will work in opposite to the above statement. Continuous statement, even though the desired condition meet, rest of the instructions will get executed. So here the same thing. If we are interested to know about a 6, when the reading value becomes 6, it will be continue Rest of the values are going to be read till the 10. This is how the continuous statement. What does it mean? Continuous statement will execute the loop instruction even though certain abnormal condition met. It will be executed. Condition is met for the first time, it will become true, and rest of the values are keep on increases. But whereas in the full break, if you use break here, if you use a break here, completely it will be stopped executing, it will be come out of it. It will be does not loop over again. Okay. I think appropriate example will solve your problem. What exactly does by true and what exactly does by break and continue. Let's we have a pass statement to create an abstract of a class or method and loop. So where I have written that the pass statement will be used. So without writing any of the code has to be written where a class can be created, method can be created, a loop can also be created. So that I'll be show you with appropriate example. So once if you learn this entire the control statement, you will be understand that types of control statement in Python, applications of each type of a statement, implementation with a Python with the right area of example. That's all. I think let us go ahead with with the appropriate hands-on knowledge now. Okay. So I'll be give you the okay. There is a file I just created for you. Let me create a file where I'll be creating. There is a file. It's called as collab file. Okay. Control statements. Okay. So let us supposingly I'll be just firstly talk about conditional statements. They are else, if, elif, else statement. These two are going to be treated as a conditional statements. Okay. Let us understand now where if else is going to be applicable and where absolutely if elif and else problem is going to be addressed over here. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be taking a very simple example. Absolutely, whenever you are, so I'm taking the demo, demo about to check a given entry, form entry is empty or not, which means what absolutely. Let's suppose there is a form. There is a form, right? And in the form there will be an entry called as name. There is an entry label is called as a name. You have to enter the name. and you have to enter the phone number. You have to enter the email ID, and you have to sign in or sign up. Here the point here is that, so whenever if you are taking a name input, if nothing you have entered, but you have switched to the phone number and you have submitted, then it's responsibility of the validation engineer that the name entry should not be an empty. It should have some value. Yes or no? So where you supposed to write the code? How you are going to write a code? Absolutely. So like your username, you are going to take a username. Like you are taking username is the name of the identifier and object, where you are going to take input. Enter your good name. Okay. So what sort of things it is going to be checked? If the username underscore name should be, if it is equal to empty, which means what? This indicates a space will be indicates as an empty. Then what decision you are taking here, that it is going to be show you that username cannot be an empty. Username cannot be an empty. This is going to be the responsibility of the validation engineer to write this kind of a code. Then absolutely, in case if you have entered the name absolutely appropriately, it is going to be printed. Let's suppose you can able to say that, what, if you have entered absolutely, it will be an else case. Else print your good name is, and absolutely your good name is colon, then I'll be print it now, like user underscore name. It will be printed. Now let me execute. Yeah, I'm entering now. The username will be a Srini. It is showing that the username is Srini. But in case if you have left as a blank, you haven't entered, but you are still trying to enter, what happens? Username cannot be an empty. This particular validation message must be displayed to the end user such a way that he'll get to know that, hey, I supposed to be enter the name, because this is an error message will be thrown to them. This is called as a validation code where if else statements are essentially to be written. Yes or no? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let us take another example. Yeah. For example, while testing the Selenium testing or maybe automation process, where I'll be validating the username and 1 second, just hold on. Okay. Okay. Right. So now I think some alarm is getting, so that's what I'm seeing, like what's happening with it. So now I'm writing the program to validate the database user and as well as password, like something called as validate user name and password. So how exactly being a validation engineer, you are the database user. Username is admin. Okay. So database password is equal to something called as admin 123. Okay. So now how you am going to test over here? Absolutely, if I statically given, that's okay. And absolutely, you take these are the login user ID password. Let's suppose we can take the server user ID password, right? Server DB user means already when you have become a member of the database, you might have there is a name have been assigned as admin. Server DB password is equal to something called as admin 123. So absolutely, how the condition is going to be written, absolutely you have to check database user is equal to server database user, server DB underscore user. And here the logical operator and will be used, and database password and is equal to server database password. Yeah. So if both the conditions become true, obviously it will be able to tell you that login successful. If in case any user ID or password is given wrongly, then obviously it could be able to tell you that print it will tell you wrong credentials will be given or invalid credentials given. So you have to be notified accordingly. So let us take now absolutely login time user ID password and server side user ID password both are same, therefore login is successful. Let's suppose if the login time password you might have written admin 12 only, 3 haven't given. Absolutely it will be tell invalid credentials given. This is how if else statements are going to be useful for you. Yeah. So now my point is both the example I have given you with only if else statement. Let us take there is an example called as when to apply the if elephant demo about if elif else statement. So I told you that if elif and else statement will be resolve more than 2 conditions. So what I'm trying to write here the scenario, the use case is that write a Python program to validate HTTP status codes. API testing or DevOps testing. DevOps. So it is useful for the testing engineers as well as the DevOps engineers, maybe someone else. What is the way you're supposed to write? So absolutely the status code is going to be get whenever you testing through HTTP request. That's another scenario. For suppose you are going to take some status code. Status code means HTTP request will be successfully executed or not. You're trying to take integer value here input that I am going to be enter any status code, any API status code. You write API status code. Few status codes are the status code. So there are absolutely the status codes are 200. There will be 200 for the successful response from the HTTP, 400 for the bad request, 401 will be absolutely unauthorized people are trying to access that, and absolutely 500 will be server code and maybe unknown response, maybe other than that. Likewise, I am having there are 4 more important status codes we are going to check while checking the two applications are communicating each other. Now, how you are going to write a if statement here? If the status code, if the status code is status underscore code, which is equal to 200. What I'm going to say here, absolutely, I could able to tell you that. So API is successful. API endpoint is successfully responded. In case if the API endpoint doesn't respond properly, then what else it is? ELIF we are going to write. Now the status code is equal to 401, or else you can take it as a 400. There are the different, what does it mean? Absolutely, I could able to say that, it's a bad request. You are trying to request the API endpoint which does not exist. So that would be the response you are going to get. There is another possibility is that absolutely 401. For that also we are going to write if elif statement. The status code is equal to 401. Then obviously I could able to say that it is going to print that the 401 will be indicate unauthorized request. In case if there is another possibility is that if the status code which is equal to 500, absolutely I could able to say that it's a server issue. Server error. Server might not responded. Server error thrown. Server might not be respond sometimes. If above all 4 conditions doesn't work for you, then there is a default statement else part we supposed to write. You know what? That is going to be the unknown response might come. Maybe 301, 300, 201. There are many more status code. Unknown response. Yeah, from the API endpoint. Now, absolutely, if we execute this now, what happens? You see, I'm executing it now. 500. I'm giving 500. What is an expected output? Will be expected, server error thrown. In case if I execute again, if I give 401, it will be give you unauthorized request. You see, unauthorized request you will be able to get. This is the answer. And if we execute again 400, it will be bad request. If we execute 200, successfully API is responded to you. Are you clear? So this is how here I would like to tell you if and else can only solve the 2 possibilities of the responses, or maybe errors, or maybe is request or responses. But elif statement can be written as many number of times you want. Not only 3 times, it can be go up to any number of times. Yes or no? So elif is going to be solve the more than 2 conditions. Up to n conditions can be able to address accordingly. During the writing the test scripts using automation of DevOps, or maybe using the validation, or maybe other situations, this particular conditions are very frequently will be written. I hope everybody is understanding what I'm trying to talk about it. Yes sir. Please, I think if you have any questions, you could able to write. This kind of programs will be written while by the using a Postman automation, while writing a PyTest automation, while writing a CI/CD automation pipelining. There are many more situations. Anyhow, you will be able to see the API through PyTest, all this. So there you will be able to see another kind of situations over there. Yes or no? Yeah. So absolutely, you can able to see like different types of environments too. Like where I wanted to cross verify. Let's say the same example I could able to ask you. You could also able to write over here. So there is a demo. Demo is environment validation. Environment validation, which is a DevOps, isn't it? So DevOps might have a different situations actually, So deployment, production, there will be different testing environments. So let us take certain scenarios. Like, you can take an environment. Environment is equal to, absolutely, we can able to take a input, that enter environment. Enter environment, type of an environment. So if the environment is equal to Dave, if is equal to Dave means development environment, isn't it? So absolutely it can be tell you, what? Absolutely. So running in the, like, the program is running in the development area. Running development environment. In case if the environment is different from that, you are going to write if elif. Elif statement will return. What is that? Absolutely. Environment is equal to QA, means quality analysis. So absolutely, if the environment is going to be the QA, then it will be tell you that the program is under the test. UAT we can able to say. So where absolutely we could able to write the response for you is that running, the program is running, or else code, source code we can able to say. Source code running is running in testing. This is the response. Other case is that if elif environment is equal to absolutely production. PROD is nothing but production, which means what? There actually we are going to write the answer for you is that running, source code is running, source code is running in production, isn't it? So if all the possibilities environments are might not be there, absolutely something else would be written over as default statement as what? Invalid environment. So you are checking the status of the environment. The code is under what stage? Invalid environment. This is how I would be able to check. Now I'm entering it here that probably I'm entering something called as A/B testing. A/B. You see what is an output it be given? It is the invalid environment which has given A/B testing. Let us execute again. If I give you production, absolutely it will tell you the code is under the production stage environment. If I give you something called as a QA, absolutely it will be tell you that the code is running in testing stage. Okay. If I tell you that Dave, absolutely it can be tell you that it's the code is under the development environment. So this kind of code will be written by the DevOps engineers as a script, as well as even though the testing engineers also going to be written somewhere else. Just I'm giving a demonstration to you that where if else will be written and where the if elif and else statement will be written. I'm just giving you the possibilities. Yes or no? So like that, there will be many number of assignments can be able to, you can execute like, you can take that, I'm just giving you assignments. You tell me assignment 1 is that. So you write a program to check DevOps engineer will monitor. DevOps engineer monitor status of the CPU or server. So absolutely the condition business logic is that business logic can be written for you is that, so if CPU usage will be less than 60, probably we can able to say CPU normal usage. In case if the CPU will be go less than 85, absolutely I can able to say that, what, CPU warning. And if maybe greater than 85, isn't it, I could able to say that the CPU under critical alert. There are three possibilities. I have written the conditions over here. So you have to use here absolutely that you can use that. Here it is an if. Here it is not a simple if. It is if, elif, ELIF. So that reason there are three possibilities. Sir, no. So likewise, we could able to take n number of situations where to apply the if, elif, and else part. I think I'll be share the assignment question somewhere else in the drive. I think many more examples are there related to if, elif, and else statement. I request there will be a accessibility. I'll be give it to you that Python material where control statements, where these are the materials related to theoretical concepts. You come to here, these are all assignments. If you look at this assignment related to this, you see, design the Python program for e-commerce application. If, elif, else, employee bonus system, like how the bonus will be calculated. So banking system, how the credit card score and loan eligibility CIBIL score is calculated. If, elif, and else. And restaurant order management system, if, elif, and else statement. And student grade will be decided. If, elif, and else part. There are many more examples I have given to you. There are 7 pages it has. Please kindly, once you just scan the programs, I think you will be get to know what sort of programs are in relevant to the each particular case schedule. If else or maybe if, elif, and else part. Are you clear, everybody? Yeah. I think I'm just concluding the session now, and comes to the I think Sati and Sachin and Hanumant. I think you have a class again at 7:30. You have a 7 o'clock or 7:30?
Your wish.
Yes, I told you that. I think I'll class at 7 to 8 a.m. right? 8 p.m. Yes, we'll have a class from 7 to 8 p.m. So initial classes, whatever you have missed out, again I'll be teach accordingly, right? I think.
Sure.
I think let me stop the class, and I'm just recording the sessions also. I'll be upload this recording somewhere else in the my LMS. So once it is done, I'll be give it to you the corresponding resource accessibility. Clear?